perpetual motion. Actually, perpetual motion. When I tell perpetual motion, what you imagine? I think you imagine like an infinite emission which creates infinite energy, which creates infinite energy through limited resources. Yeah, but actually, yes, it is also the subsection, the subpart of this perpetual motion idea. But perpetual motion is an idea about something a bit different. Perpetual motion means a motion which creates energy, then it uses. What it means? Example is 50 watts. You have 10 watts, which is completely. It didn't use this energy. It used 40 watts, but it gave you 50 watts. It is perpetual motion. No, it is perpetual motion. But actually, still since 1600 to now, no one still can invent this type of motion. Yes, this type of motion. So many people, so many scientists say that this type of motion is not a reality because they completely put the thermodynamics rules onto us. What these rules? Example, the conservation and the conservation rule of energy, which means energy should be conservative in this section. Example, the machine can't create an energy more than it use. And also the type of this thermodynamics, they also tell that this in this mechanism, this maybe this machine can be so effective, can be infinitely perfectly effective, and it can use the 40 watt and completely use this 40 watt again and again and again and never stops. Yes, this doesn't give us any useful work, but it is also, they call this not reality, because in this part this should be a friction, but this should have a friction, but any type of this machine should have friction. In the physics they call this unreal because they say that every type of mechanism should have friction, maybe so less, but should have, and this makes it not to work through the energy which it uses and creates that amount of energy to infinite time. No, this is not reality, they call that. And there are also, in 2016, new states of matter time crystals were discovered, in which on a microscopic state the component atoms maybe are continual repetitive motion, thus satisfying the little definition of perpetual motion. This is the reality, but after they think I researched this and I wrote down this because this was nice to talk about. So the scientists also say that because they are in the quantum ground state, and so no energy can be extracted from them, they exhibit motion without energy. What it means? Yes, there are crystals, there are what it is, time crystals or quantum particles which completely can move so continual repetitive in motions, but they tell that this is not make us to achieve a perpetual motion. What? I think it's not reality. If there are particles like that, if we are able to use these particles in so advanced technologies and so advanced technology designs, then we, example, collect so many particles of those particles, but in the separated form, which if they are not separated, they create matter. But if they are not in separated, they are not together in the separated form, then they can repeat this process, which their motion, repetitive motion, and they in a way which we still don't know, but maybe in the future can make us so much energy, maybe infinitely many energy. This is my idea about that, because I think it may be reality, because no one still did not disprove that, and no one still did not prove that. What I said before, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. And also vacuum or zero point energy. Yes, I don't have so much about information about that. If you want to really understand what it means, vacuum or zero point energy, you can easily open the Wikipedia or different research articles, different articles in the different websites, and research this easily. But I wanna talk about what it. I don't wanna talk about what it means. I wanna talk about why it can be the evidence for perpetual motion. The vacuum or zero point energy is likely when the scientists before experimented something. They put the two metals. I don't know what kind of metals. The two metals in the vacuum. Yeah, I think vacuum is 99% or 9999 goals, but perfect vacuum is not existed. Even this vacuum is not perfect. In this vacuum, the metals is getting closer, was getting closer through any explicit action. There's no one didn't touch them, no one didn't do anything for them, but they through some energy we still don't know was getting closer. This also I think this also about I think vacuum or this zero point energy, and also in the vacuum in the so much perfectly, but there's no perfect vacuum, so nice so maybe 99% of vacuum in this type of vacuum there are different particles, different quantum particles can exist and completely destroy stuff. In the quantum conditions, we see that thermodynamics didn't work. This is on in the quantum conditions. Thermodynamics doesn't work. So this also maybe the reason they can create in the quantum state. Maybe there are infinite many energy. We still don't know. Maybe this is also the evidence for the multiverse theory, because in the quantum state everything is almost possible. There are 1, 0 and 1 and 0. This is so beautiful. I want to talk about Tony Stark and its device. We know Tony Stark in the science fiction character. Tony Stark in the character in science fiction. Novel, I don't know. Tony Stark in the science in the Marvel universe, Marvel world, created a mechanism, a device which uses the I don't know whatever ionized particles and create so big energy through almost nothing, from nothing, out of nothing. It creates so big great energy out of nothing. This allowed him to create a robot and use this energy to do those types of things. This energy problem is also our problem about the robots. We can't create robots easily because robots need so much energy. Only this kind of device can make this type of happen. This type of technology and this type of robot. So yes, this type of technological research still continues, and I think it's gonna happen. The scientists are gonna discover this kind of device and maybe make happen that type of utopical science fiction reality. I talked about perpetual motion a bit. Yes, I should say that I'm not a scientist. I only share my ideas about the things I research. What we talk about, perpetual motion. I think thermodynamics are not real too much completely. I think there should be constant formula. Thermodynamics only works in the in the macro in the macros. Thermodynamics doesn't work in the micros really. In the quantum state, when we say quantum state, we can't prove those things through thermodynamics. That's because Einstein said before quantum things, quantum theory is not reality. Einstein said this before, but after I think he accepted. Why he said that? Like, I think because of this thermodynamic, because of yes, the electrons. One electron can simultaneously connect the affect the other electron in almost infinitely in the distance, which is almost infinitely many miles. But do you understand what I'm talking about? Einstein is the past scientist, and the quantum theory was the new for him. Thermodynamics is past, is dated, is dated. The quantum theory is completely make